Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third run in this no damage series where we're trying to go beat mom each time with each character without taking any damage from enemies. But we can't take damage from things like these curse rooms since apparently, or obviously I just walked in and picked up the shovel, which is a sweet starting item. So I've been talking a lot in the last two runs, which I encourage you to go check out, where I go through Mom without taking any damage from enemies with Isaac and Maggie. I've been talking a lot about kind of general strategy, but I'm going to try to talk a little more in this video about each individual room that seems difficult and the different strategies to play them, what's important to keep in mind. So obviously we're looking for items that are not these. You can't always tell what a run's going to be like by the first couple items. Wow, that's a pretty good use to get out of my best friend. It's probably the, most efficacious it's ever been for me. So it's fun to watch. Um, so, you know, the Cain run I thought was pretty easy overall. I'm recording this post the fact I've already accomplished this run. I don't do commentary while I'm trying to do these no damage runs because I find it too difficult. But yeah, just in general, Cain starts out with pretty decent speed, some of the best, I think, just behind Eve, and pretty good damage. And having a little low health isn't too big of a problem. His limited range is more of a problem than you would think, because it didn't seem like as big of a deal to me on the other runs. But the speed is really important, and his damage seems almost as good as Judas's. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I didn't see much of a difference as I was going through these runs. I'm sure it's like incredibly easy to find out. Okay, so picking up money equals power is pretty awesome. That might allow us to do a ton of damage. There's always a trade-off here where you don't really want to spend money in the shop. The only thing is that getting something like the compass or the map can be very important in a no damage run because if you have to wander around and find those boss rooms, it can be hard to know when you should use any kind of safety item that you might have, like a Book of Shadows or a Mom's Bra or something like that, how many rooms you have left to charge it, and obviously you're just more likely to run into a room that'll end up killing you. So on the other hand, damage is about the most important thing that you can get for, for any run, but especially when you're trying to take no damage. So this run, I don't know, it seems pretty standard so far. Haven't run into rooms with a lot of problems here. I guess I'll say generally, when you walk into any given room, when you're on a challenge like this where you're trying to take no damage, I find that you really need to do one of two things, and this may seem completely obvious, but this is generally how I think about it. You either want to stop and wait for a second, wait for the enemies to kind of do their first action before you move and start shooting at them, or you really need to be moving right off the bat. So I think if you're practicing individual levels, or not individual levels, individual rooms in this game to try to take no damage, that's what I would kind of recommend thinking about. Is this a room that I should be firing, immediately the moment I walk in, or is this a room where I should pause and let the enemies do their thing and kind of let them work against themselves? So picking up cancer is awesome. As I'm sure you know, increased rate of fire is going to be helpful no matter what. So probably using that devil card, because if I pick up any other card over the course of this run, it's going to act as a safety card for me. Anything that transports me either to the shop, the secret room, the item room, the fool card, anything like that, it'll be more important than the devil card. So deal with the devil. Oh, mom's knife. I actually didn't remember that that's how we completed this run. So I forget if I've used mom's knife in any of the other no damage runs. that I've done. I haven't used it in all of them. In fact, I think I've used it in none of them. I think mostly the runs that I accomplish are with Brimstone. Oh no, maybe there was one run. Now I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm remembering some commentary that I did. Um, so we're gonna go back and check out this boss trap room. I would say, obviously, with Mom's Knife, you can generally feel pretty confident about fighting a room like this with such weak bosses that aren't likely to, shoot a stray shot at you or something. But usually, if I walk into one of these boss trap rooms, or especially a mob trap room, if I don't see something that's going to convey an essential upgrade, being tears, damage, or speed, I guess with Cain, if you don't have something like Mom's Knife, um, range is also something that I might consider important. But if it's just a straight health upgrade, I almost never pick it up because health is only useful in this run for trading for deals with the devil. So we're obviously gonna play these fortune tellers as much as we can. We're giving up our money equals power, kind of like potential for the moment in order to play these. But the cards and the trinkets you get are so valuable. And Cain, he's not guaranteed to win on every fortune teller play, but it seems like he wins something like 90% of the time. So generally when I'm Cain, I'm playing it as much as humanly possible on a run like this. So yeah, I would probably not take damage in that mob trap room, for instance, but I generally don't think it's worth it in a situation like this. I find I found in some of the earlier runs that I did, when I tried to walk into those extra rooms and not just run straight towards my goal of the end of the floor while making sure to go to the item room or the shop, I found myself taking damage an annoying amount of the time. So this is a good example of a room where you have to make a decision about whether to move right off the bat or whether you should remain still. I would say having Mom's Knife does not reflect the strategy that you would usually have to use in a room like that. If you had tears and no flying as we do right now, if you have flying, you can just move over the gap and, basically take the room on as slow as you want. But if you have no flying and you're using, tears of, medium to low damage, basically a starting damage, in a room kind of like this one, but where you have a couple of spiders, I think you want to move right off the bat. Because if those spiders start coming at you and you don't have the damage necessary to take them out before they basically get to you and trap you in that corner, you are probably going to take damage. And it can be difficult to make that decision. You kind of have to play the levels long enough that your instinct kicks in, I guess, so you know when to move and when not to. This boss fight, while it seems easy, and it is easy to a certain extent, has gotten me, I was about to say killed, but really for a run like this, what I mean is has gotten me hit. I've taken a hit of damage on this boss fight many times because I'll be Judas, or I'll be playing as somebody who happened to pick up the Book of Belial, and I'll use it the moment I walk into the room. And what I found is that there's a certain amount of lag time where the game seems to be going on, but I can't move, like when he's holding up the book. And I found that first shot Pestilence throws out at you, that first green bomb shot, can end up hitting you if you use the book right off the bat. So my advice for that room, for instance, as a room that I wouldn't really have suspected before I started this challenge to be one that would be particularly challenging not to take damage on, if you have the Book of Belial, move out of the way of that first shot far enough so that you can use it and know that a green bomb isn't coming your way immediately. So we're obviously going into every curse room possible. Really, we're looking for flying right now. If we can get a flying item, Spirit of the Night would be great, but any flying item would do, frankly. Oh, this is that's terrible. I really want that key to go into the whatever item room is on this floor. Frankly, any flying item will do because the spectral tears don't do anything for us right now. If we can get a flying item, we're basically in a position to kill Mom. There's basically no excuse not to if we can get a flying item. Although, obviously, shit happens, and any room can hit you at any point. One of those flies could have run into me, just through sheer negligence. It's not that difficult to take a random hit of damage over the course of the run. And trust me, it's happened to me a million times. I've considered making kind of an outtakes video because I have obviously hundreds and hundreds of my deaths recorded kind of incidentally as I've been trying these challenges. I do not just try kind of 1, 2, or 3 runs and immediately get a no damage run all the way to mom. It's taken a really long time. Not to, I'm not trying to brag about it or anything, maybe a little bit, but, just to let you know that if you're trying this challenge, don't expect to get it done immediately, although I'd be interested to see how other people found the challenge, whether they found it difficult, and whether they used different strategies. So I used to be under the impression that range upgrades, when you had mom's knife, acted as extra damage, although I believe I got that information off of a Northern Line video that maybe Bisnap had a theory that was true, but then it turned out not to be true. This was, I don't know, months or many, many months ago, so I don't really remember the specifics. Anyway, if it does convey damage, I think it's very little. So this is perfect. Now, we have all this health. It's not really necessary to use on anything, as long as we keep a half spirit heart so that we can, use it to deal with the devil. And all of that money is going to give us a lot more damage with money equals power. So, there's not even much to say about this character right now. He's incredibly powerful. We've got Mom's Knife. We've got, at least the damage upgrade from money equals power. We got the... What other damage upgrades did we get? We got the meat, right? The meat conveys some kind of damage upgrade. And as I said before, we're really just looking for flying to kind of finish this off. So, I think I vaguely remember this situation now that I'm watching this video, where I think I'm going to go back and forth here and play the shit out of this blood bank, because obviously the more money I get, the more damage I do, and this is important. This is important for completing this run. Generally, when I'm trying these no damage runs, I do not min-max the game. That is to say, if I'm Cain and I'm down in the womb or something, and let's say I'm trying to take no damage all the way through Satan, and I run across like a fortune teller, say, or maybe just a regular slot machine, and I don't know, 25 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, however much I have, technically the right thing to do would be just to continue to play that slot machine over and over and over again. Because who knows what you get? You could get a great card, you could get a great pill, it could blow up and give you spirit hearts, or, whatever the situation may be. It goes even more for blood banks if you don't have enough speed and you really want that blood bag to pay out to give you a speed upgrade. There aren't that many speed upgrades that come throughout the game. And if there's a lot of red hearts scattered around the level, it might be pretty important to go around and pick them up. But what I've found is it's so frustrating to min-max this game, i.e., spend an extra 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes on a floor going back and forth, picking up hearts, playing the blood bank, because what ends up happening oftentimes is you'll walk down to the next floor, walk into a room with, I don't know, a bunch of leapers and a bunch of turrets that are firing bullets, and all of a sudden, bam, you're not dead, but you take a hit, and that's it. That's the end of your run. And as I said, I think I said this in the last video, it was important for me, at the very least, to try to keep my sanity as I was doing these runs over and over again. The longer I played, and the more I would try to min-max, and at the same time, continue to do runs like over and over again, regardless of getting hit. Kind of like the more frustrated I got, and the worse that I played. I don't know. It's possible that I just don't have the self-control or the willpower to play this game emotionless, but I get I get very frustrated, and I would say my play suffers massively. So all of that is to say that usually I'm not min-maxing, but in this particular situation, I guess past me had made a decision that it was so useful to pick up this extra money from the blood bank, and to boot probably wanted the speed upgrade. that I decided to go for it this time. You know, I'll do it once in a while. I'm just saying generally, if you're going to try this challenge, I would recommend not, going all the way, because you're just going to drive yourself crazy, and it's not going to be worth it. You're not going to want to keep playing. So I think we're almost done. That is to say, I think Past Me is almost done min-maxing this floor. I think he should move on. Yep. Okay, we're moving on now. Rooms like these, obviously pretty easy. The only thing you want to watch out for is the guys that are shooting bullets right now. Sometimes they can turn at an unexpected moment. Sometimes I think they can even shoot those shots out of their butt. Although it's possible that every time that's happened to me, I thought that they were looking away and that it came out of their butt, but in reality it came out of their face as usual. I don't know. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but this room, obviously incredibly easy with Mom's Knife. And the game looks a little framey, actually. I don't know if anybody else is noticing that, but as I'm watching this video, it doesn't look great. So, this guy, super fast, incredibly annoying, without Mom's Knife. If you don't have a lot of damage to take him out, he produces those guys that shoot bullets. I find this boss fight to be an absolute nightmare. So, Deal with the Devil is excellent. I believe the lump of coal does not convey any damage upgrade when you have Mom's Knife. I think I'm getting that information from BizSnap as well. You can correct me on it if I'm wrong. Obviously, I have no choice but to play this, or not play this fight, but fight this fight regardless. And even though, as I said on my last video, Krampus is my least favorite enemy in the game, and the enemy I take damage on more than, I would say, almost any other, with Mom's Knife, it's not too big of a deal. Obviously, we were hoping for Spirit of the Night or Wood of the Pit or something else to give us flying in this Deal with the Devil room, but it's okay. So this is exactly what we were saving that Judgment card for. You know, any of you out there who have played a lot of this game, it's a pretty standard strategy. Save it for a Deal with the Devil room to hoping to get a free Deal with the Devil item. Obviously, we are losing a little bit of money equals power damage upgrade. But it's not a big deal because we're so strong already with Mom's Knife, and we're still at 76 cents. It's giving us plenty of damage upgrade. And so since we're Cain, we're obviously going to take all of these pills. Oh, and I got that Emperor card too, by the way, which is absolutely amazing. That Emperor card does great things for us on the later floors. Because the goal of this video is just to beat Mom, I assume that I'm going to use that card on Depths 2 or Necropolis 2, whatever it ends up being. But I will say that in a run where I am, originally attempting to go further, whether I'm trying to go through Mom's Heart, go through Isaac, Satan, or Blue Baby, definitely save that Emperor card as long as you possibly can, especially when you're this strong. Because it's those later, it's those regular levels later in the game that are really going to trip you up. Once you get to the cathedral and the chest, while Isaac and Blue Baby can absolutely destroy you, if you don't have the map or the compass and you have to spend, 5, 10, your time in 5, 10, or 15 rooms in order to find the boss, it's unlikely you're ever going to get there without taking some kind of damage unless you are either ungodly good at the game or ungodly strong and protected. So, definitely going to go in here. We pick up the candle, which is big and, obviously is better than My Best Friend. I can't believe we've been rolling with My Best Friend this entire time. The candle is big. I used to think the candle was basically the best item for this challenge. When I started trying to do this challenge 4 or 5 months ago, and the goal was to beat Satan, which I did with Isaac, and you can find that video on my channel. Okay, so let's pause for a second, because I'd forgotten that happens. So, that was a situation where I was about to take damage. I think I'm probably standing there thinking about whether I took damage or not. I was about to take damage from one of those green bombs, and just at the last moment, before it landed, I used that Emperor card in one of its most important capacities, which is as a safety item. That is to say, that item using that item, I was able to teleport out and not take any damage. So I wasn't able to save it for the use that I wanted, as I said before, to use it as late as possible. In this case, it would have been, on this floor, I guess. If this is Necropolis, yeah, this should be the second Necropolis floor. So I wasn't able to do that, but using one of those tarot cards as a safety item like that illustrates how unbelievably important tarot cards are in this run. Any card that teleports you can be used in that way, and although all of them are incredibly useful for that reason, it does take a lot of presence of mind to be able to use it at the moment when all you're thinking about is how do I avoid, getting hit from this particular shot. You're not usually thinking about that when you're playing a regular run. You're not usually willing to use something like an Emperor card just to avoid taking one random hit unless you are actually about to die. So you really got to keep it in mind every time you walk into a room. I have this tarot card. It can keep me safe. If I'm in danger of getting hit, absolutely remember to use it. So now, at this point, we're just looking for the boss room. I find searching for the item room or the shop, we were able to go to the shop on this floor, but whatever the case may be, depending on your build, I find on these later floors, looking for the item room especially, simply is not worth it, especially if you're on Necropolis. We don't have flying. We are massively overpowered for the floor right now, but Necropolis is so tricky, I think you can get hit on basically any room. So my recommendation, and certainly my strategy, is the moment you find the boss room, just, absolutely do it. Don't go searching for the item room. Unless you have something like the map that's showing you that the item room is maybe like 1 or 2 rooms away from wherever you are at the moment, then it could be worth it to go. But, in general, I think the odds that it's going to convey something that are going to be essential to winning the run are just simply not that likely. What you're really going to be looking for in this situation is, Book of Shadows, Mom's Bra, something like that. So this room could absolutely do us in. I mean, really all I needed to do was that one little dodge, but you saw all those guys coming for me. It was an absolute nightmare. Anything could have happened, and I cannot tell you how many millions of runs have ended just like that. Some crazy overpowered construction like Mom's Knife and Money Equals Power with 70 cents and Massive Infamy, just, shit all over you. But instead, we were able to dodge. I guess I'm thinking, might as well play this Demon Judgment in case he conveys something. There's no reason to save the health from those blue hearts. And, he could drop something like the Joker that I guess is going to give us another deal with the devil, potentially. And obviously, he could give us an item that could be useful. I don't actually remember what happens here. It's like I'm almost ignoring my own advice. I didn't go straight into that boss room and just continue on, but I definitely wanted to come in here and use this deal with the devil first, because I think picking this up is going to make me guppy. Am I wrong about that? Nope. Okay. So now I understand why this mom fight was probably not so difficult. So although we don't have a Book of Shadows or something else to convey some security in the mom fight, we are unbelievably overpowered now. I think that getting the mulligan from becoming guppy and having something like Mom's Knife or Brimstone is about as much damage as you can do in this game. Or it's one of my favorite combinations, to be frank. Not necessarily for a no damage run, but definitely in general. It almost seems to me like, I'm not exactly sure how the flies are created when you have the mulligan, or whether the mulligan is different from having kind of what seems like the mulligan from being guppy. But it seems like every very small denomination of time that the knife is in an enemy, a fly is being created. So you just end up creating a massive number of flies. Okay, Red Mom would be a nightmare, except that we're going to kill her in like 2 hits, and it's going to be no big deal. And, alright. So that's the end of the run. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue on to see that if I can beat Mom's Heart or somebody else further. But at the moment, Cain beats Mom, no damage. Thanks for watching. See you next time.